Homestead Miami Speedway. The iRacing Stock Car Association ButtKicker Cup Series swings back to the southeast, right down to the edge of Florida for tonight's all-star race, running the new next-gen stock cars here at this beautiful 1.5-mile speedway. Muller Rempel in the booth with Al Kozlowski coming to you from both in the booth and down in the car with Rob Milk behind the cameras for today. Don't go away. A thrilling night of action right ahead of us. We got a lot of details coming out for you as well, so stay tuned. We'll be right back.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebuttkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
And welcome back to qualifying coverage here at the Homestead Miami Speedway. We are in for a very fun night of racing tonight. We see stage racing introduced for the first time in ISCA history, along with the next-gen cars for this one and only race here in the All-Star race, a non-points race over here for the night. So, Al, just 50 seconds left in qualifying. With stage racing making its debut here in the ISCA and these brand-new next-gen cars, I have a feeling that this 16-car grid here tonight, they could be in for giving us one heck of a show.
Yeah, this is all going to matter on pit strategy, I'm afraid, and how well you run this track. This track is very difficult. It eats a lot of tires up, and this next-gen car is a totally different animal compared to the Cup car we're used to running. So there's going to be a lot of lifting. We may see some downshifting in the corners. We may see some braking in the corners. It's going to be a whole pile of different strategies from these drivers tonight. Can't wait to see this.
Just 10 seconds remaining in qualifying. Clayton Hoffman currently on the pole, but not by much. 3 thousandths of a second separate your front row. So Hoffman will not be able to run away with the race lead in this race like he does week after week. Qualifying is complete. Let's take a rundown for the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave
The night time is the right time. Remember what I told all my drivers? Reach up there and pull those belts tight. One more time. Drivers, start your engines.
Qualifying is complete here at the Homestead Miami Speedway for the ISCA All-Star Race here at the Next Gen Cars. Click rundown for your starting grid. Clayton Hoffman, Brian Johnson, 3/1000ths of a second separate them in qualifying. Only 6/1000ths of a second separate them in practice. And they lock out the front row. John Mullins, just 0.05 of a second behind, half a tenth back in third, with Nick Robinson, 0.08 of a second behind him in fourth. Travis Bannett is in fifth, with Al Kozlowski lining up on row number 3. Wayne Grossi sits in 7th place, with Chris Johnson in 8th. Robert Pattengale and Seth Hollander in 9th and 10th. Jason Maines in 11th, with Connor Mulligan, in the 12th position. Craig Johnson and Greg Wychinski in 13th and 14th. Kenny Powell rounds up the last of drivers to set a time, rounding up the field. Paul Olson and Josh Schaffner, both going to be with us today. So far, the only driver to not grid up with us is Seth Hollander. Some apparent issues at the moment for that number 10 machine, connection-wise. So we're hoping that he's going to get back with us very, very shortly here. So wow, let's go into some of the details we got on tonight's race. 134-lap event. We do have stages in place. Now, those stage ends are going to be at 31, going on to 32, and at the end of lap 63, going on to 64. So it is bound to be a very, very entertaining race tonight with those stages involved. To throw some strategy into the works here. Pit road will be closed 2 laps prior to the end of those stages as well. So this is it's gonna be an interesting race here, combined with the fixed setups, and that means that so far the entire grid separated by just half a second.
You know, this is going to be fun tonight. I've got all buckled up here. We're getting ready to rock and roll. Starting the outside, which is not the preferred line to be on. As you'll see, some of these drivers are going to love this outside line, and some are going to hate it. This tire, it doesn't last that long, so you'll notice that there'll be fast speeds in the beginning of this race for about 10 laps, and then we'll start to fall off. The first 2 laps are going to be pretty squirrely. Some of these guys may get loose and wreck themselves out or wreck other drivers out, but hopefully we'll have a good green flag run, and this will be our first stage run here that we ran for the season. So hopefully this goes well so we can have more of this stage racing.
It is a very different sound that these next-gen cars give as well. A very different look. It's a much more of a rounded back end. This car very much aerodynamic dependent, it would appear. And I've been seeing quite a few of these next-gen races, and I've seen drivers pushing it foot to the floor for the first 15, 20 laps of a run. It's insane how long you can go flat out in these machines. We are very much going to be seeing pack racing here in the early stages. It's not going to be a big surprise I've seen anything of that nature. So pace car is going to pull it out onto the racing surface, and soon enough Clayton Hoffman will be the driver to lead into the green for the first next gen race, the first bout of stage racing, and for the ISCA All-Star race here in 2021.
You know, and like I said, this one is not going to be a full to the floor all the way to the end of the race here. You have to lift in the corner with this car, and the dirty air is so much of a problem at this track that the guys in the front, those first 2 cars, they should be able to leave pretty well. And we'll see how Nick Robinson and John Mullins react to that.
$75% gas tank as well, so there is a fuel limitation in this race as well. So it's going to be very interesting here. There's a lot of very different factors in this All-Star race. It's not a traditional All-Star race, but at the same time, it is far from a traditional ISCA race, making it perfect for the All-Star race here tonight. Pace car takes him on the front straightaway and pulls down into pit road. The green flag waves. Clayton Hoffman on the loud pedal. We are off and away, but it's a great jump from the outside line as Brian Johnson links up with Nick Robinson around the outside.
Yeah, they're getting
And
loose.
getting squirrely, heads up Robinson, sliding sideways, and he saves it. Still struggling, and he's going to collect the 12 car sideways on the back straightaway, and somehow Paul Olsen just barely squeezed through by the skin of his teeth. Caution number 1 on just the first lap of the race. You called it out. Very squirrely early on in these races. That all started when Brian Johnson got a bit loose. I think Robertson just got a bit sideways in reaction to that.
Yeah, you cannot push up into these guys. If you do, you're going to create a problem. And I give them kudos for lifting like that. But when you lift dramatically like that, it gets the car very unstable. And that is the end result you see right there.
Wayne Grossi in the number 12 car has some very significant front end damage on the right front of his machine and the right rear. Got slammed indoor by Robinson as he slid back down across the track. Now, of course, the 71 car definitely going to be hurting quite a bit more as a result of that one. He's got some major left side damage on the front end of his machine and some very burnt up tires as well. 4 tire sets to be used in this race as well. So this is going to be, it's going to be interesting here to say the least how this one is going to play out.
Yeah, you have to be cautious about the first 3 or 4 laps of this race. You'll get stuff like that. These cars get very unstable. And if you're not, we get that result right there. Surprisingly, I was able to keep off of that and managed to move up 1 position. But now I start on the inside, and now I have to worry even more because my car can do the same thing and get loose on the inside. So you really have to be patient. I mean, let these cars settle in and the tires get underneath them, and then we can get to racing. But these drivers are all here to win, and they want to get to the front because that's where the clean air is. So patience probably is going to be put aside here. We'll find out on this next restart.
Stage 1 will be ending at the end of lap number 31, coming on to 32. That will end once 10th place or the last lead lap car across the start-finish line. Depends on which one comes first. So that means, of course, if 10th place happens to be a lap down, as is 9th, 8th place will be the car that we have to wait to cross the start-finish line. So it's very interesting here, and we got to wait and see how this stage race is going to play out. Of course, we've had 1 caution already on the day, but I don't think that it can be akin to stage racing. I think that's more just a factor of this next-gen car being so incredibly new to these drivers out there.
Yeah, we have to mention also, we're running a fixed setup. None of these drivers have been able to adjust their car other than the steering offsets and maybe the steering sets here. I mean, the steering offset, I believe, and the ratio is the only 2 things you can adjust other than the brake bias. So brake bias, you'll be able to tell who's running a really low brake bias when they come into pit road and they slide sideways. Steering ratio is kind of a driver preference. So this is going to be interesting to see tire preservation on this.
Lights are still on the pace car up in front. 16 cars start this race. We were set for 17. Seth Hollander was due to start in 10th. However, he had a significant connection issue right when we went to gridding and has not been able to rejoin us since. So hopefully we will be able to kind of get some more racing in here in very short order. For now, let's take a quick break here, and we will be back in just a few moments.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at TheButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Lights are out on the pace car, and if you want to get in on some of the action with ButtKicker, you get that 20% discount promo code for ISCA20. That is ISCA20 for your 20% discount on ButtKicker products. So lights out on the pace car. Clayton Hoffman will be the one leading back to the green. John Mullins lines up beside him in the second row. And it's going to be Travis Banning third, Johnson fourth. Kozlowski, you round out the 5th place position. You think this restart's going to be any different than what we just saw in the initial start?
I think it's probably going to be a rerun of the same thing we just seen. But it's going to probably be behind me, hopefully behind me, not in front of me, because that was almost a race-ending event for me there if I didn't check up like I did. But we'll find out. We'll see how it goes as we go green right now.
Pace car is off. Clayton Hoffman, your control car, takes them back to green flag racing. It's a much better launch this time by for Clayton Hoffman. Clears John Mullins very early on. 3rd place driver Travis Manning trying to throw his hat into the ring. I see Brian Johnson sliding way up the racetrack on the outside. Already a much cleaner start than the first time around. The run that Brian Johnson had is significant. Clears around Chris Johnson. Battle for the lead. John Mullen is looking for the inside of Clayton Hoffman down for turns 3 and 4. The 92 car gets muscled out wide thanks to the aerodynamic effect. Going to slide him with the liftoff to avoid getting into the wall. John Mullins, car number 64, to the point of the iRacing Stock Car Association All-Star Race here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, down into turn number 1 for the 7th time today, and we complete our first green flag lap on the night.
These cars are getting loose, buddy. They are getting loose, and I'm just checking up because Chris Johnson doesn't seem to have his tires underneath him in front of me, and I do not want to get into his rear end by catching up to him. It's just pushing pretty bad right now already.
Travis Manning not wanting to wait around. The driver that started 3rd on the restart is going to try to go to the point, but look at Clayton Hoffman. Going to give a bumper here to John Mullins down in the turn number 1. Give him a bit of extra speed, but it's not going to be enough. Manning's going to take this one around the inside. Here comes Brian Johnson trying to throw his hat back into the ring after he qualified. Dang near on pole, only 3,000ths of a second off. He is now trying to get back up into podium contention after getting super loose to kick off the chain. Kick off the chain reaction that brought out our first caution today on just the first lap of the race in turn number 2. So for now, Manning leads, but it's still a pack race from first on back to the 7th position. And Kozlowski can go down the inside of Chris Johnson, trying to fight it out, trying to get that 5th position, away from him. Brian Johnson up in front is going to single file out with Clinton Hoffman decides not to go for the move. Greg Wachinski looking in the back as well. You can see drivers further behind already starting to kind of die off a little bit as little runs tend to come and go in races like these. So right now, you got these couple of trains. You got 1st to 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. They're trying to keep in touch. 8th and 9th are in no man's land. That is 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. And everybody else behind them. It's a fierce scramble as well for those spots just outside the top 10 as well.
3 wide.
Oh boy, 3 wide. Down to the turn number 3. Hoffman backs out from the middle groove. He tried to have a run around. I want to get a look at that from Brian Johnson's view because that was an almighty send from the number 4 car down into turn number 3. Definitely deserves to be looked at for sure if we can potentially get another look at that. At the moment, though, Johnson is also trying to go for a spot. You got to pick one up from John Mullins. Oh, caution flag is out for the 2nd time tonight. Wayne Grossi is sideways on the front straightaway. He made contact with Robert Pattingale. Those things. So caution number 2 on the speedway. Lap number 10 going on to 11. Still about 20 or so laps to go before stage 1 concludes for the night.
Yeah, if this keeps going on like this, Nolan, I don't know if we're going to take any tires on that first stage. I'd say yes, but if we don't abuse them, we should be okay.
Looking back at that incident that I just saw there, it looks like Grossi was coming up a bit, Pattingale was coming down a bit. They kind of just met in the middle. So that's just 2 drivers going for the same piece of real estate. Get a look on board if you can, though, from trying to find who this was. Josh Schaffner made a massive juke to the inside line and just barely managed to avoid the spinning Wayne Grossi on the front straightaway. Absolutely tremendous driving there from the 50 car. Great heads-up reactions as well. Certainly not an easy feat to do.
Yeah, I'm doing everything I can to not get into the right or left side of Chris Johnson on these corners because that will immediately turn him around, and I don't want to end his race. Even though this is a no-points race, I'd still like to see these guys do really well up here, and I just try to stay out of their way.
Wayne Grossi becomes the second, well, technically the first driver to officially DNF on the night. as he takes his car, number 12, behind the garage for this race. He becomes the second driver technically to DNF from the night if you count Seth Hollander, but I think Hollander is more of a did not start rather than a did not finish. Under caution for the second time today, lap number 13 at the moment. Let's take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back in just a few moments.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at TheButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Back live from Homestead Miami Speedway. If you want that 20% discount promo code for ButtKicker products, that is going to be ISCA20. Once again, ISCA20 is your 20% discount promo code for all products ButtKicker. The official title sponsors of the 2021 iRacing Stock Car Association seasons 1, 2, going to be 3, and of course the Super Cup Series as well. Pace car about to take it back down to pit road. Nola Rempel, Al Kozlowski joining you in the booth today for the ISCA All-Star Race from Homestead Miami Speedway. Travis Manning gets a good jump on the field, back to green flag racing. The 1 and 2 car well clear of Brian Johnson, which is a good thing because we saw how fast you can lose that lead for Clayton Hoffman running in these fields. Kozlowski tries to pinch down Chris Johnson coming into turn number 1. Didn't go so well. Brian Johnson trying to fight the outside line on the restart early here. Kozlowski once again going to assert dominance over Nick Robinson. Going to pick up yet another spot and punch his way up into potentially the top 5. Oh, Robinson started to push up, and Al, you're going to go up into 6th place. So top race for you out there at the moment.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get me there. I was pretty worried.
Side by side for second, John Mullins, Brian Johnson trying to do battle off of turn number 2 for the 16th time today, about halfway through stage number 1, about 13 laps to go before we get our first competition caution on the night. Clayton Hoffman trying to fight the inside as well. So far, the inside line definitely seems to be a favored line from a lot of drivers today. The question is, will it stay that way as I try to weather this on in? Hoffman going to go around the out inside of John Mullins. Take a look at the weather here for a brief moment. Track temp looking to be about 84 degrees Fahrenheit. In the air, 77 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds blowing a calm 5 miles an hour just up to the north. 53% of humidity. So it is a pretty dry day out there in Homestead, Miami, Florida at the moment, and down to the track as well. Pretty chill track temperatures, all things considered, considering we've been so used to running 100-degree plus temperatures all season long so far for the entirety of the ISCA Season 2, save for, of course, the World 300. Excuse me, the Cheerwine 300. My bad. It wasn't even the Cheerwine 300, was it? I'm just completely getting this all wrong. I'll figure that out in a minute. For now, though, the race is still going on here at the ISCA All-Star Race at the Homestead Miami Speedway. Just in behind the grouping of Al Kozlowski, got Greg Wyszynski trying to bump Nick Robinson coming down to the turn number 3, giving them those couple of extra miles an hour of speed that you really need if you want to remain competitive at a track like this. Robinson sweeps up right in front of the 13 car of Jason Maines. And just behind, Wojcinski is going to slot in line. Kozlowski about to find himself under fire from the 71 car, who has worked himself up through the field on the last restart. Looking for the outside now on the 0-0.
Yeah, he's going to have to take it on the inside if he wants it, because I'm not going to give it up. I'm trying to be very cautious around Chris Johnson here, as he is really checking up. I get a great run on him.
John Mullins also washes up in the middle groove there of Clayton Hoffman. Travis Manning doing a good job running out there in front as well with the 22 machine. Trying to build a gap, but not able to break away from Brian Johnson, who's still hovering at about 4 or 5 tenths per second behind, give or take a couple laps. At the moment, we are single filed out throughout the entirety of the field, save for one scrap that is just single filed out back for 12th and 13th position. So no drama at the moment. This is definitely the cleanest run we've had so far in this race. No close calls at the moment. Of course, as we all very well know, when it comes to oval racing, all of that can change in a heartbeat, even in these extra grippy next-gen cars.
Yeah, here I go to the inside, see if I can hold it.
Washing up, nearly gets into the door. Chris Johnson trying to pinch out down off the exit there. Johnson gets the speed and is able to maintain the position around the outside line. Holds off for 5th. Wojcinski and Jason Baines looking close as well, but let's take a look away from that and look up to the race leaders. Brian Johnson has caught Travis Manning, so we got to fight for the lead once again in our hands. Manning about to lose the lead for the first time today. Brian Johnson goes down the inside into turn number 1. Hoffman trying to pick up second as well. Can Johnson clear? He is going to get clear. Washes right up in front of Travis Manning, is going to get the race lead. New leader, Brian Johnson, qualified second on the day, 3,000 of a second behind pole sitter Clayton Hoffman. He is now to the point and will lead his first laps on the day as well. Clayton Hoffman in third, also trying to fight his way back up through the podium positions.
Yeah, these tires are starting to really break in here. Everybody's racing like it's the last lap. We should start seeing some squirrely cars here. I've got to do everything I can. I hope Chris Johnson can get around John Mullins here, and I can do the same.
Oh, Manning! So close to Brian Johnson at the entry to turn number 3 and nearly wiped out the number 4 car, which would have been disastrous for everybody else running this top gaggle of cars. Pinches him in again on the exit of turn number 4. So the two leaders have not made contact yet, but any lap now, if they don't cut it out here, that isn't what's going to happen here. Johnson is going to try to fight the outside line, all of them at the wall, taking that Larson line. Very fitting considering he is running a Kyle Larson paint scheme at the moment with Hendrick Motorsports, number 5, ripping it off of that machine. Look at the drive that he gets off the exit of turn number 3. Nothing Manning can do about it. Manning still has that inside line, though, for 3 and 4. Just behind, Kozlowski is side by side with John Mullins, first, 5th, and 6th. Kozlowski up into the top 5. And with a little bit of an arrow push, Johnson gets clear for the race lead, and we're about to be 3 wide for 3rd here. Kozlowski picks up 4th from Chris Johnson on the inside line, trying to have another go here. And Hoffman, as we're still drag racing now for the race lead, down the back straightaway. Third place runner Clayton Hoffman in the middle of a bit of no man's land here at the moment. The 92 car trying to fight his way back to the front and retake the race lead as he did earlier this race. Gets such a big arrow push on Brian Johnson and has to lift off to avoid running him over. Heads up Al, company down, or heads up Chris Johnson, excuse me. Al Kozlowski giving him some company down in the turn number 1. But Johnson is going to pinch out right down Gamer, and then just it neutralizes any kind of momentum that you get with the bit of air bubble there. Coming to 5 laps to go in stage number 1 here in the All-Star race from Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah, he kind of pinched me pretty good there. That was a good move.
And almost another bump up in front. Brian Johnson is trying to fend off Travis Manning just behind. Manning looking for the inside. So is Hoffman trying to make it 3 wide for the race lead, but no dice. All 3 cars slot back in line. It's just so hard to get a momentum run off of these inside corners. And I mean, Al, you're starting to experience that as well as you're just trying to get around Chris Johnson, but every time he just gets such a good drive off of that outside line.
Yeah, he's got the grip up there. I got the no grip down here, but I got to clear him.
Look at the top three. You're all starting to run the outside line. Now, definitely seems to be like that is the place where you want to be.
Yeah, I think I'm going to move up here. See if I can get around Chris Johnson here. I might have to do a crossover move on him here.
Coming to lap 29, pit road will close at the end of lap 29 going on to 30th, at which point drivers will have to be stuck out there until that stage caution ends. So it's not going to be long at all here before this ends up kind of getting itself sorted. Hoffman trying to fight the inside line, contact just behind for Jason Maines and John Mullins. Both drivers managed to save it, so the top five single file out. Battling for 6th and 7th, Jason Maines and John Mullins drag racing it out. Down into turn number 3, just behind, heads up, Nick Robinson! Trying to find the inside line, gets so squirrely as well to the 7-1 car. He is going to clear, and just like that, the road is closed. Two laps to go in stage number 1. Brian Johnson and Travis Manning do battle for the race lead once again. Manning gets loose on the inside line. Brian Johnson clears up top, and Travis Manning sitting duck for Clayton Hoffman, trying to close in just behind, coming to the final lap of the stage. Johnson trying to find the inside.
They checked up, knowing they checked up pretty bad there. I think Chris checked up, and I had to check up in order not to spin him out, but that was going to be a disaster.
The proverbial white flag for stage number 1. Still racing it out there for the race leaders. Travis Manning trying to fight the inside line. Can he have anything for Brian Johnson coming down into turn number 3? It's going to be the big ticket question here today. Don't think he's going to be able to. Oh, man, he's going to fight this one. He's going to force the issue on the inside line. Manning going to try to get the drive off the corner. Drag racing it out for the end of stage number 1. Brian Johnson gets the on the outside line. It is Johnson to take victory in stage number 1. Just like that, Travis Manning just barely ekes out, manages to lose out to Brian Johnson, who takes victory in stage number 1. The results: Brian Johnson in 1st, Manning 2nd, Hoffman 3rd, Chris Johnson 4th, Al Kozlowski 5th, Jason Maines 6th, John Mullins 7th, Nick Robinson 8th, Kenny Powell 9th, Greg Wachinski rounded out the top 10 finishers for stage number 1 on the night. Well, Al, quite the first stage and quite the end as well. I think stage racing, if that's how it's always going to be, it's here to stay.
Yes, buddy, this is what it's all about, and it makes excitement. You can see these guys race from the beginning right to the end of that stage. I mean, they were battling like crazy there, and that's what stage racing is all about, and that's what we need to have more of. It's just that what we just seen.
Under the first competition caution for stage number 1 here. Now, of course, pit strategy going to be very crucial here from here on out. No doubt everybody's going to be coming down pit road this next time by here.
Yeah, and I almost thought about not taking any tires, but I think that's going to put me as a sitting duck. So I'm going to take some tires and some fuel, and let's ride this thing to the next stage.
Looks as though one car is staying out. That is Paul Olsen, who's going to stay out and lead some laps. Interesting call from Olsen there to keep it out there on the track. Everybody else coming down pit lane. A little bit of a checkup kind of in the midfield as cars try to find their pit stalls here. So far, everybody looking to get it nice and clean. Oh, Robinson nearly collides there with John Mullins in an effort to get down at his own pit stall. So some beer drum pit road, but so far, everything appears to be all well in hand. Jason Maines, the first driver off pit road by a long way. That was a fuel-only stop there for Jason Maines. 8.1 seconds in the pits. He did not take any tires. That's going to be a bold strategy there from Maines. Brian Johnson, the winner of pit road, out just behind. Under caution. First stage caution ever in the ISCA. Let's take ourselves a good old commercial break, and we'll be back in a few moments. 100 laps remaining under the competition caution for the first ever Stage 1 here in ISCA Stock Car Association history, won by Brian Johnson in a drag race after Travis Manning forced the issue on the inside of the 3. Was not able to get the run, though. Al, you were right there in the thick of that for the entirety of that stage. We still got a little time here before we go green, so what do you think the first stage was like there from your perspective, and Will, what do you think we can expect in Stage 2, especially with Jason Maines now out there on old tires?
Yeah, that was a bold move for Jason, but he's figuring he's only got 30 more laps left. He's going to try to save a set of those tires for the end of this race. It was something I gave thought to, but I wasn't brave enough, and we're about to see why I didn't do it, because I'm thinking everybody on these fresh tires are going to eat him alive. But remember, they're fresh tires, and the beginning of this race, they got squirrely. So we got to watch that as well. That's going to happen here, and I'm sitting in the same position I was in when we started this race. So let's see who's going to spin out in front of me.
What's the fuel window looking like down there? We know these guys have 4 sets of tires, but of course, with it being only a 75% fuel tank instead of 100%, that's going to shake things up as well. So what's it looking like for you down there at the moment now that you're on a full tank?
I'm getting about 48 laps.
Oh, that's a reasonable amount. So to restack the order, Maines, the most spots gained on the day, have a number of 10. Beside him, Brian Johnson. Then comes Clayton Hoffman, Chris Johnson, Travis Manning, Al Kozlowski, John Mullins, Kenny Powell round out the first half of the field. Greg Wyszynski, Craig Johnson round out the top 10 with Josh Schaffner, Nick Robertson, Robert Pattingill, Connor Mulligan, and Paul Olson, the last of the drivers running with us today. Wayne Grossi eliminated from an early crash, now 25 laps down. Seth Hollander not starting the race, was due to start in 10th place. Unfortunately for him, though, it didn't quite pan out that way. Coming to 3 and 4. Now we got to wait for that calm before the storm for stage number 2.
It's coming. Keep an eye on Jason up there, Maines, the 13 car, because I think he's a sitting duck on that inside line. He's probably going to spin his tires.
Jason Maines on the loud pedal. No wheel spin from the number 13 car. He is already clear of Brian Johnson in the number 4 car. Practically bump drafted, though, for spots all the way back to the outside on the top 10. This is where you can see those fresh tires already starting to come into play, though. Hoffman with a big head of steam trying to reel in Jason Maines. 13 car washing up to the outside line. No wreck like we saw the first time they were on completely fresh rubber. So Hoffman down the inside line. Sure enough, Jason Maines getting freight train around the outside line. He's gone from first. He's going to be dumped out of the top 5 here in just the first lap of green flag racing action. Drag racing, though. Travis Manning trying to get the lead back as Hoffman back to the point where he started today. Manning gets clear, 3 wide behind them. Chris Johnson now 3 wide with Greg Wyszynski and Jason Maines around the outside line. 13 car managed to pull a gap. They're still 3 wide just behind these guys, though, so it's a lot of it's a hornets of cars out here. Everybody's kind of jockeying for position. Everybody's trying to get these spots really early on, because it's going to be that much harder to make them in the later stages. So you got to get them here when the tires are still at their best. Still 3 wide as Jason Maines continues to fall further and further down the order. Oh, ends up worked out as Greg Wyszynski slides down to the inside and nearly up and onto the apron. Got a little bit squirrely off of turn number 2. That's no doubt burned up the rear of his machine. Schaffner and Powell duking it out just behind him for position.
And I got my buddy Chris right there trying to take a position from you again.
Well, that's racing. Everybody's going to want to get the position. That's the one thing you got to always be concerned about. Whatever spot you got, if there's a guy behind you, he's going to be pushing you for it.
Yeah. I got to try to get around Mullins here, and he's got to get around Brian Johnson.
So Clayton Hoffman and Brian Johnson trying to do battle at the moment for 4th and 3rd out there on the track. Kozlowski trying to look around for positions just underneath, looking for the inside, electing to make the dive down to the turn number 1. So Mullins is going to be in the middle, but Brian Johnson is not going to make it 3 wide. He gets the drive around the outside line, and now a huge head of steam on Clayton Hoffman, the 92 car. Now he's the one who's a sitting duck, and Brian Johnson now set to run down Travis Manning in just a couple of corners here.
Yeah, that outside line, I'm going to make it, damn it, 3 wide here.
So Kozlowski down low. Johnson trying to look around the outside line. Hoffman in the middle. Johnson backs out. Hoffman pushes up to the wall. And he will clear for 4th. It's hard to make those passes around the inside. You got to try to get around the outside line. We've been seeing that all day. I mean, look at Travis Manning. Had the nose end there, managed to even clear just about up to the quarter panel, and he was still all the way clear in front by the time they got back around to the turn number 3. It's that big here. The aerodynamics on these cars, you have to make these passes around the outside line. That's where you want to be if you want to hold on to these positions.
Yeah, I need that outside line. This inside line is not cutting the mustard.
First through 7th, all under a blanket. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th are trying to close on in. Everybody else is just kind of hanging around in no man's land just behind us. This is the closest group of the cars. Is these guys trying to do battle for the lead as Johnson goes back to the inside of Manning. But cannot clear and will no doubt be taken right back into turn number 3. It's rough going out there at the moment. I mean, you got all these guys out here that are trying to, make up for these exact same spots at the same time. And when that outside is just so strong, and Manning already, he's proven that he knows how to run it. He was learning from Brian Johnson. Remember, stage number 1 was Brian Johnson having to fend him off around the outside line for the stage win. Now the tables are switched. Now it's Manning doing all the defensive driving out there on the outside line. So that 22 car's been learning from stage number 1. And he's now starting to put his skills all into use here for stage 2. And Brian Johnson just not been able to get to him. Look at this though, 3 wide for the race lead. John Mullins trying to go for down to the inside line. Brian Johnson backs off from the middle groove. Gonna try to force the issue here. Travis Manning gonna go around the outside. Can Brian Johnson get the hammer down in the middle? No, we cannot. So John Mullins takes away 2nd place, but maybe not for long. Cobb gives him a good hard arrow shove coming down into turn number 1. Already several laps into stage number 2 here on the night.
I'm door banging my way up here, it looks like. I hate doing that, but I got to get around these guys.
It's all arrow. You haven't actually hit anybody yet so far today, and that's actually been the case all night long. I mean, you've been seeing how Clayton Hopper gets right up on somebody. He's never actually touched them. He's been packing a whole ton of air and then just punching it into the rear bumper, and it's given them a big shove forward. These cars are so great when it comes for arrow pushing and not having to worry about bump traffic. And of course, that does mean as well, it's so easy to be able to just lose these cars as well. I mean, even with current generation of Cup cars, I've seen several incidents now in the last several races in real life where drivers have just kind of lost it, coming into on the exit of the corners because cars have gotten right up on their quarter panel, just punched an air hole in their side pretty much. Up front, Travis Manning now on the defensive for the race lead. Brian Johnson tried to go for it, was not successful. Clayton Hoffman now side by side for 2nd, as they're 3 wide just behind for 9th, 10th, and 8th. Nick Robinson up the middle. Schaffner backs out. No further incident.
Yeah, we're going to see some incidents here. I'm afraid these guys are getting a little bit racy. We got 15 laps to go here.
Coming to 15 to go in the stage. Stage number 2 will be ending on lap 63, going on to lap 64. That will be the next stage caution for us. And from there, it will be green to the end, barring any further incident. But so far, there's only been 2 incidents. One for Nick Robinson, who had a self-spin on his own, and the other one for Robert Pattingale and Wayne Grassi. Unfortunately, one came up, one came down, both went around. Starting to get further into the nighttime as well. Track has decreased the temperature down to 82 degrees Fahrenheit out there. Track is sitting at about 9 or 7 I want to say that's 7:55 in sim time. About to hit 8 o'clock p.m. here in very short order here in Miami, Florida. Which means the lights will be coming on soon as well. We will soon be racing on a complete cover of darkness. Brian Johnson to the point. Travis Manning had nothing for him. Clayton Hoffman is going to go up to second place as Travis Manning slots back in line of the 22 car just behind. Halfway, or over halfway this time by, through stage number 2. And just like that, on cue, the lights come on, and we are now racing under darkness from Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah, she's starting to push quite a bit, Nolan, so these guys are probably experiencing the same thing up here. When you're racing these guys side by side, you get a push.
You saw it right there. I mean, look at Chris Johnson trying to get the run around Travis Manning, who just barely gets clear up in front. Good grief, these guys are racing hard here at the moment. Well, Al, you've been in there all day race long, so if you're not too busy, you want to tell us how that ButtKicker of yours must be feeling?
Oh, this thing is phenomenal. It gives me all the realism, and it makes me, it goes off when I'm starting to rear end, starting to get loose underneath me, so it kind of gives me like a little warning, and then I can lift off of it and save this car from spinning around here. It looks like we got Brian, or is that Chris? Chris is on the inside here, and that's going to let me catch up to him here when he does that. And he's
Chris Johnson goes defensive. So Kozlowski down the inside of the turn 1. Johnson was not willing to let you have that position easily, but already well and clear off of turn number 2. Side by side for the lead. Johnson clears for Hoffman. And then Tuco's having a rough time out there at the moment, trying to get himself back up to the point.
So now what I have to do here, Nolan, is I have to make Chris Johnson eat his tires up. He's going to check up, and I've got to hog all these lines here and not give him anything.
Ooh, that was close there. But Johnson, I mean, mission accomplished, lost the run off of turn number 2, was not able to get the drive off. 80 to go. Coming to 79 to go this next time by. If you are just joining us here, welcome to the ISCA Stock Car Association All-Star Race at Homestead Miami Speedway. Running the next-gen cars and stage racing for the first time tonight. Nolan Rempel coming at you live from the commentary booth with Al Kozlowski down on the track. Rob Melnick behind the cameras for today's race. Running at green so far, the entirety of stage number 2, where stage 1 did have those 2 cautions in the very early running, about laps 1 and 11. So these drivers have already done a good job of cleaning the race up so far. Oh boy. Bit of a pinch there from Kozlowski to Johnson. No doubt Chris might not be the happiest campers about that. Going to get right up in line. Try to pack that air onto your left rear quarter.
Yeah, he didn't make him a happy camper that time.
It's a bit tight there between the two of you. Stage 2 will be concluded at the end of lap number 63, coming on to 64. Stage 1 concluded some 20 laps ago from lap 31, going on to 32. Pit road will be closing here in roughly 3 laps time, if I got my math here right. Johnson back down to the inside of Kozlowski.
Oh, he hit me.
The 00 turning in just that little bit on the 48. No damage, though. Well, slight damage, actually, on the front of Al's car and more on the right side of Johnson's.
That's definitely going to affect the way this thing steers.
Good news is you got a caution coming up here in less than 10 laps that'll help you manage it. And come on down and get those repairs without losing too much time. So, silver lining. Or I should say chrome lining, given how much chrome is on that car.
I'm going to lose a lot of positions because of that hit right there. It's got the front end of my car pushed up, and it's not aerodynamic anymore here. So that might be the end of my race.
Pit road will be closing within 2 laps. That has really split up the battle there, and now out under further fire from John Mullins and Greg Wachinski. Both drivers trying to work their way up further in this running order. The 2 cars starting to push up as Kozlowski pinches him down. Easy there, buddy. And Al is going to manage to take this one home here. Pit road closes at the end of 61, and then 2 laps later, the stage will be concluded. Look out, Brian Johnson washing up the hill. Clayton Hoffman trying to get a run on them down the back straightaway. Whoa, Al in the back looking aggressive as well to get around Wachinski. Not having any of the blocking from Wachinski down the back straightaway either, but the battle's still on for the race lead. Hoffman and Johnson trying to do battle in front. Hoffman clears. Pit road is closed. The official word from race control. So we are going to be going to the end here of stage number 2. Nick Robinson getting a little bit out of shape off of turn number 4. Ended up clipping the wall in the effort to get around Schaffner. Still racing for the lead there. Hoffman is now the one who's on the defensive as Johnson goes back down the inside. Johnson trying to sweep both stages here. But look out, Travis Manning just behind. 1 lap to go. Final lap on the stage. The GG Racing 92 Chevrolet trying to find some speed here down the inside line. But Brian Johnson and his number 4 still doing a good job to hold on the inside line. Travis Manning in the 22 car just behind. Can Johnson get it done? Dives it in deep for 3 and 4. Nothing doing though. Clayton Hoffman stalls out the run. And off of the final corner. Maybe not. No, he will get it. Clayton Hoffman wins stage number 2. So under caution, Nick Robinson will be the driver to get that lucky dog. He is currently down pit road. Now here's the problem. He came down pit road when pit road was closed. So that will be interesting here to see how that will be managed, whether that be a post-race or an in-race penalty. We'll get clarification on that in a moment. Coming up to halfway here in just a few moments, let's take a quick break here and we'll be right back. Pit stops are underway. Clayton Hoffman leads them down. This time, everybody is in pit road. Nick Robinson was set to get an end-of-the-line penalty, but he has since left the session. He will not receive any further action as a result. Chris Johnson, first driver out. He's the one this time to take fuel only. 7.8 seconds in the box. Compared to everybody else being in there 14 seconds or more. We will be halfway by the time we get to the green flag, so we'll take this quick caution period here to give us our ButtKicker mid-race break. We'll run through the order so far. Chris Johnson up in front, +7, but on old tires after that pit cycle, so he's in for a rough ride on the restart here. Clayton Hoffman is going to be in second, with Brian Johnson rounding out the podium. Travis Manning is going to be in 4th place with John Mullins in 5th. Josh Schaffner, both spots improved on the day, up to 6th place. So look at the 50 car on the move. Krowczynski is in 7th place with Kenny Powell, also in 8th, both drivers, +2. Chris Johnson, change of position. He's going to be coming down pit road here. So at the moment, Maines is 9th, Olsen is 10th, Pat Gill is 11th, Kozlowski 12th, Craig Johnson 13th, Connor Mulligan in 14th, with Robinson on lap down at 15th, and Wayne Grossi in 16th. Chris Johnson is going to be cycling all the way to the tail end of the field, though, as a result of him coming in pit road this next time by. So, potentially forgot some things there, Al, it might seem. That, or he had a bit of damage that he wanted to come in and fix as well. Just a lot of that right front damage as well.
He had to fix some damage. I got no tires that time around. I'm going to roll the dice here. Because we only have 2 sets left, and these guys only have 1 set in front of me. We have got roughly about 60 laps left. It might have been a dumb move, but I may pit this next time and just take tires. I'm just going to see what this thing does.
Pole sitter, Clayton Hoffman is back out in front. Brian Johnson outside pole sitter, still sitting around in 2nd. Track temp is looking to still be at a steady 82 degrees Fahrenheit, 77 degrees in the air. Winds blowing to the north, 5 miles an hour, 54% humidity. So starting to get a little bit more moist in the air, but effects are negligible at the moment. Lights are on over Homestead Miami Speedway, so we are now going to be racing further and further into the night. Currently sitting at about 8:17 in sim time. 67 laps to go. Lights out on the pace car. We're going green this time by. I bet, Al, when you made contact with Chris Johnson, your butt kicker gave you one sharp kick up the backside. It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it definitely let me know something bad happened there. That was not fun. I think that shot my race, Nolan. I hate to say it, but I think it did. So I don't wreck anybody, I'm going to take these tires and come out here. I don't want to do it, but I'd much rather use the strategy, but I'm going to have to.
With 66 to go when we go green, and barring any further incidents, will be green flag race from here to the end as well. Seth Hollander has finally managed to join us in this race. Whether he comes out on track is yet to be seen. He was due to start in 10th place, but connection issues saw him drop out of the race, and he is now going to be, well, 68 laps down. He still has yet to turn a lap this race so far. So whether Hollander actually gets out on track to join us, remains to be seen. Pace car is off. Pole sitter, and now restart pole sitter Clayton Hoffman leads them back to the green. Good jump there from the 92 car. And we're back racing for stage number 3 on the night for the ISCA Homestead Miami All-Star Race. 3 wide, Brian Johnson, John Mullins, and is that Kenny Powell in the mix there? No, it's Schaffner who squeezes John Mullins up and nearly wipes out all 3 of them. Still 3 wide. Down in the turn number 3, Schaffner trying to hold the inside line. Brian Johnson trying to pull the outside. Mullins just trying to hang on to the middle and knock a cut between them. And Schaffner backs out on the inside. Mullins is going to have room to slot in line as well. So now we are single filed out all the way back to about the 9th and 8th positions out there on the track. Currently side by side with Maines and Olsen trying to do battle. Heads up, big checkup further in the back of the field. The 11 car, Connor Mulligan, had a major checkup there. Might have clipped the apron there. Can you confirm, Al? You're right behind him.
Yeah, that was a Code Brown moment for certain. He did clip the apron and cause a problem there. So luckily me and Chris were able to make it through there, and we're trying to work our way back up into our normal 5th and 6th positions here.
Certainly tough going. We've been seeing how difficult it is to pass of these new next-gen cars with how aero-dependent they can be throughout the course of a race. I mean, Brian Johnson proved the point perfectly as he tried to get a run on Travis Manny. It just wasn't successful. John Mullins is going to wash up and clear for Manning. Tell you what, while we're watching the race starting to develop, I'm going to go through and kind of preview what Season 3 will look like for the ICA ButtKicker Cup Series. Kentucky Speedway will be your season opener in just 1 week's time with 150 laps, with Pocono Raceway right up there with an 80-lap event, so a heck of a lot shorter in the race coming up. And these races are bound to have stages as well. Road America for a 31-lap race with only 3 sets of tires as well, so that's a bold choice. We'll have to see how that race plays out. Atlanta Motor Speedway will be the 4th race on the season, with New Hampshire Motor Speedway in 5th. Still waiting to see where races 6 and 7 will be. I'd be almost disappointed though if Nashville Super Speedway didn't make an appearance with the brand new 1 3/3 mile track being introduced to the RC service. Watkins Glen is going to be in 7th, or in the 8th race, excuse me, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course right after that. So 2 road course races back to back. Michigan International Speedway is round number 10. Daytona International Speedway has 2 purposes. Not only is it the penultimate race in season 3 of the 2021 ISCA ButtKicker Cup Series, it's also the cutoff race and the start of playoffs for the Super Cup Series, which we'll get into further detail as that series goes on. The season finale for season 3 will be at the Day Tarlington. Good grief, that sounds beyond cursed. Darlington International Speedway will be the season finale for season 3. Will also be the first round of playoffs for the ISCA. Look out for Travis Manning, who nearly got run over there by Josh Schaffner coming down into turn number 1. Gave him that tap on the back end there, and it's all sorts of hairy up in front here. Hoffman's trying to get the run up on him, and Schaffner goes to the race lead. True pack racing at the moment for 8th all the way up to the 1st position in the moment, and all those drivers jockeying for positions, trying to get whatever they can early on because they know they're not going to have the chance to do it later on. Whoa, heads up for Clayton Hoffman, apron in turn 3. That caused him to wash up, and he's going to lose out several spots. Goes all the way back to the 5th position there. But 6th place runner Greg Buczynski trying to get a run up on him as well. That's allowed. Drivers like Jason Maines, Al Kozlowski, and Chris Johnson will all close up in a big hurry. So we're side by side for the race lead out with Johnson and Schaffner trying to have a run at each other. Brian Johnson, to the point. Nothing Schaffner could do about it.
Yeah, this is a melee of mess right here. I don't know what we're going to do. We got cars blinking. Try to get past these guys. This is a real rough situation here. This is like rush hour in Atlanta right here.
If only rush hour actually moved at 170 miles an hour, we wouldn't have such a thing over in my town. Whoa, look out up in front. Travis Manning clears himself across Schaffner's nose, checks up the 50 car. That gives John Mullins a big head of steam. Clayton Hoffman trying to find the inside of the number 64 car as well. 3 wide on the back straightaway. Schaffner clears, making it 2. As the melee continues to ensue up in front, let's take a ride on board with Chris Johnson. We'll give our voices a break here for a couple of laps, and we'll be back in a few moments on board with 48. Travis Manning started to build a gap 3/10 up to the second place driver Brian Johnson. Josh Schaffner plus 14 into third. Currently side by side with Hoffman for the final podium position. 50 laps remaining, coming to 49. Pit stops are likely to be underway. These guys definitely still have to make another pit stop here before the end of the race, and we're expecting people to come down in about 20 laps time. Does that sound about right to you, El?
Yeah, probably a little bit sooner than that, I'm afraid. I'm going to probably come down like a lap 100, so I got 30 laps on these tires here. And I'm assuming everybody else is probably going to do the same thing. Some guys might ride it out till they absolutely have to come in, but not me. I beat these tires up trying to get back up into fifth.
Jason Maines and Kenny Powell just tried to swap positions, but Maines could not get up the inside of the 24 machine. So Kenny Powell in the G&G Racing 24 hangs on to 7th place for now. Single file for the entire running order at this point in time. 87 laps complete. Both stage cautions have been had. We are green to the end, barring any significant crashes. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen late race cautions though, Al, and well, in these next gen cars, who knows what's going to happen, especially when we get around to that pit stop window here in just a little while.
Yeah, they've got roughly about 30 laps left, and I'm probably going to cut that short myself here because I think I can make it to the end by pitting right now, and it might benefit me.
Wojcinski and Schaffner trying to fight for 4th and 5th. Schaffner trying to hang on as Wojcinski tried to find the inside line. No dice. Swing and a miss on the number 2 car for the 4th position out there. Wojcinski's having a good night as well. He's up 9 spots where he started today, so he and Schaffner combined, they're up 22 spots combined between them. So these two guys have certainly been moving all night long. Schaffner's plus 13, Wojcinski's plus 9. And that gives them the most spots gained out of anybody this race between the two of them. And if Wojcinski can get past Schaffner, both drivers will be up double digits, which is certainly a feat in just a 16-car field. Manning is continuing to extend his gap over half a second now. Clayton Hoffman is now having to defend against Brian Johnson, so he's not able to get a good run on Manning anymore. But Manning still is not able to break away either. Schaffner's trying to find the outside line. Trying to see if he can maybe dime it off the corner, fight his way to the end from there. Kenny Powell and John Mullins are looking to be battling this ball in just a few moments. If Powell can get a little bit closer to the 64 machine, gonna fight the outside line. But unless you're already there on entry to a corner, it's not gonna happen. He washed up too much, didn't get a run. Wojcinski will try to defend against Mullins. He's still trying to reel in Schaffner as well. It is interesting here what we're seeing here, Al, because I mean, people have not been able to pass on the inside line. The outside line is where people always get their runs off these corners, but everybody goes to the inside. It's such a curious thing to see. One car is down pit road. Connor Mulligan, the first driver to stop in the number 11 machine. With 42 laps remaining, that's going to put him 1 lap down here and into the lucky dog spot.
Yeah, but he'll be on about 2 second faster lap tires here, maybe a second and a half, and he should be able to maintain pretty good here. Yeah, these tires are just, when you battle like that on the inside, you really beat them up. So I've pretty much used these. I'm just buying my time right now. About 7 laps, I'll probably come into pit.
Mulligan now 2 laps down. It was already close to being a lap before he came down pit road, so he's now 2 laps down officially as he exits pit road onto the back straightaway. It does have right front damage as well on that number 11 machine, so that's no doubt hindering his pace as well. The battle for the top 5 is still on. Wachinski and Powell are still trying to, do battle it out there with 40 laps to go now. Wachinski is going to fight the inside line, but it's just so difficult for him to be able to get something proper done there. You've been seeing that these guys are struggling so much to pass around the inside line. The outside is where you want to be if you want to complete a pass or defend against an incoming pass. Right now, Powell is defending perfectly. Wachinski has not been able to get a run on him, much like what we saw with Travis Manning and Brian Johnson at the end of stage number 1.
The problem is they push up. They push up so bad here. So going on the inside is not going to be the safest bet for you here. So the outside line, if you can drive it, that's what you want to stay in.
The sun is now completely set over Homestead Miami Speedway. We are now racing completely under darkness.
Yeah, I'll be coming this time by. This thing is pushing way too bad for me.
You heard it there. Now Kozlowski down the pit road at the end of lap 97. With 37, it'll be with 37 laps to go when he comes down. It's enough to make it to the end on fuel, and very much so on tires. And he is going to have that tire advantage, so I have to see where he's going to be when he cycles out with the rest of the field. Travis Manning has lost a lot of ground to the race leaders. Hoffman is now just 1/10 behind, or about 1/10.5, and closing. It's now a case of how long can Manning hold Hoffman behind him as Al Kozlowski comes down to pit road.
Oh, couldn't get it out of gear.
Paul Olsen also makes the call to come down to the 43 car just a little ways behind. Whoa, bob over Jason Maines off of turn number 2. Almost sends him spinning. Manages to recover, though, before John Mullins runs him over. Cars out there are starting to get a little bit more squirrely, though, on the older tires. Could only be a matter of time before we see something really start to, come about this. Robert Pattingill makes the call over the radio. He's coming in down pit road this time by. So actually right on the money here. 35 laps remaining, and these guys have been out there for 34 laps on the tires. I mean, it's a good strategy. You're not going to gain anything else by staying out there for longer, are you?
No, you definitely want to come in when everybody else is coming in, because you'll see how quick I catch the lap. I'm 7 seconds behind the Chris Johnson in that 48 machine.
Kenny Powell, Greg Wachinski, Chris Johnson, all coming down pit lane. And Kenny Powell having a bit of a close scare with the barrels, ended up having to lock up the left front tire to turn it in time to miss him. I see Chris Johnson in as well. Craig Johnson is behind these guys. Well, he just came down at the 83 car. Second to third also coming down. Clayton Hoffman is in. So is Brian Johnson. Josh Schaffner, the driver that's made up the most spots today, is also down to the lane. And race leader Travis Manning made the same call. With 4 seconds between him and Jason Maines, he has made the call that he is going to be coming down to pit road this next time by as well. Meaning if Maines does not come down, he will inherit the race lead. So where's that 22 car going to cycle out here? Because he was fighting with Hoffman really hard originally. Manny is coming down into his box now. Hoffman is just now out of pit road. Crashman is putting the left sides on now. And Manning comes out of pit road. With Hoffman with the run down in the turn number 1. Will Clayton Hoffman take over the race lead from Travis Manning? He was right behind him when he came in. Oh, this is going to be close. Manning out of pit road. Going to come right on up. Here comes Hoffman with the run. It's not enough. Clayton Hoffman takes the race lead away from Travis Manning in the pit strategies. Brian Johnson trying to pick up second place immediately after as Manning on the fresh rubber tries to run him down. But just cannot get there. Only 2 drivers left to come down. Those guys are John Mullins and Jason Maines, who are at this point are staying out there long because they're trying to bank on the caution to come out.
It was almost that. I almost caught one of the leaders and rear-ended him there.
That was Mullins, John Mullins. Oh, Kenny Powell's going to nudge Mullins on the track as well. And Jason Maines is going to get swapped as well. Both drivers on old tires. The only ones out there on old tires at this point in time as well.
The longer you stay out, the worse it's going to get for you.
Oh, absolutely. It's like we said, I mean, you've made it 34 laps with the tires. Come down now. There's no point staying out there any longer. You're not going to gain anything.
3 wide. Josh Schaffner's going to go 3 wide here.
Schaffner down the inside. Powell on the outside. Powell backs out. And Schaffner trying to take the spot away from Al Kozlowski in the battle for 7th and 8th. Or 6th to 7th, excuse me. Schaffner can't get there, and now you got a bit of a push there from Kenny. There was no touch, but he certainly gave you that arrow push, so how does that feel?
That felt pretty good. My butt kicker was telling me somebody is behind me, hitting me really good here.
He didn't even hit you. That's the crazy thing. He has not hit you once. It's all the arrow. That's the arrow push that he's giving you. That's how powerful it is. It's insane.
Yeah, I'm going to have to. This thing has got too much damage.
Jason Maines down pit road. John Mullins not this time, so he's still going to stay out there another lap. Still banking on that late caution. Still waiting to see when Mullins is really going to come down. I mean, this is interesting to see that he's even stayed out this long in the first place. Oh, Wachinski trying to find the middle, but gets shut out by Chris Johnson. And now, finally, John Mullins down pit road. Took him long enough. So that 64 car will be the final driver in the pit stop cycle. Meaning the official battle for the lead will now switch into the hands of Travis Manning, Clayton Hoffman, Brian Johnson, with Connor Mulligan just behind trying to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, I'm parking this thing knowing it is pushing really bad. That damage I got early on in this race is just going to make me be one of those drivers out here that's going to cause a wreck. So
you're still faster than a lot of other guys that are out there at the moment.
Yeah, it's pushing too bad here, buddy.
"25 laps remaining in this 134 lap race. Twilight has set in over this beautiful 1.5 mile speedway in Homestead, Florida. Track has continued to cool. 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Winds remain unchanged. And yet the track is a lot more rubbered in now, allowing these drivers to have that much more grip.
I like to know where they're finding that grip. This thing is pushing like crazy on me, knowing it's amazingly nuts. I could certainly use a caution right now.
Well, unless things really change for the worse, you're not going to get one. This guy's running very, very clean so far. The only 2 cautions we had of the night that have not been for stages, who were actually in the first 11 laps of the race. It's been completely green otherwise. "22 laps remaining." Let's take another quick step away here, and we will be back in just a few moments.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at ButtKicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
ButtKicker, feel what you've been missing indeed. The official sponsor of the Irish Stock Car Association for a 20% discount promo code. Type in ISCA20 for your discount on ButtKicker products.
Yeah, no, and I like this stage racing. Stage racing brings out some excitement here. We've had, I'm sure it's been much nicer to watch and more enjoyable. Both getting tongue-tied tonight. As we watch some of these guys, they keep them packed together. I mean, if this wasn't a stage race, we would have these guys separated, and it would be such a boring race. But it kept these guys all in a bundle. I mean, for the majority of the race, the top 6 drivers have been nose to tail.
Can you say they've been nose to tail? I mean, the top 3 are still only half a second apart. Quarter second back from Mann to Hoffman, about another 2/10 back from there to Johnson. These guys have been really tight so far throughout the entirety of this race. So, kind of recapping the battles here, you got the top 3. They're still running line of stern. They haven't really been side by side. 4th is in no man's land. 6th and 7th, excuse me. No, 4th and 7th. I am very confused as to what has happened there, as Kenny Powell has gone up several positions in the 1 lap, actually. Look at Kenny Powell on the move. Moved up 2 spots in the 1 lap. That's very impressive. Looks like Chris Johnson had a moment out of turn 2 the last time by, which would explain that for sure.
Yeah, as the laps go dragging down and the sun sets, this track gets a little bit cooler, it becomes, I want to say, more grippy, but it's not getting speed in it. It's just pushing you.
Now, speed's there for a lot of the other guys, Travis Manning included. I mean, it's a miracle he's been able to hold off Hoffman as long as he has been. Of course, Hoffman, your pole sitter on the day, by just 0.003 of a second over 3rd place runner Brian Johnson. I mean, those guys have been close all night long. I mean, 0.006 of a second in practice, 0.003 in qualifying. They've been right with each other all race long as well. I mean, those are 2 guys that they're very evenly matched when they're on the same car like this. 14 remaining.
What happened to John Mullins sitting way back there? I mean, he's probably going to come up here because he's on fresher tires, but he was 5 seconds behind me.
Five seconds back is still quite the ways. I mean, you're entering turn 3. He's still halfway down the backstretch, so he's still got some time to work with. 13 to go.
Oh, definitely he'll catch me. I'm running 30, almost 34-second laps, and these guys are running 32s, 33s, easy. So I'm so much slower here.
Oh, up in front, Wachinski nearly hits the wall. That allows Chris Johnson to get a good head of steam up on turn number 2, but not enough to take the spot away. The 48 car down the inside into turn number 3. And will Wachinski back off and let him have it? Don't think he will. He's going to continue to fight this one out with a dozen laps remaining.
Now I need that. I need to wreck. I need to get a fresh restart here in order to get a top 5 out of this thing.
And Johnson had to downshift. He was losing that much speed off of turn number 2. So slots back in line. And now 0.7 of a second behind Greg Wachinski. Just 10 laps remaining, about to enter single digits here in just about 30 seconds time. What a race it has been. I mean, we've had ourselves 2 very exciting stages so far. It's kind of died off in the later portions of the race, but with the third stage always being the longest, it's never really any surprise. I mean, the first 2 stages are supposed to bring in some excitement for the first half, and then we have some good, proper racing, for the last half or so of the race.
Yeah, I can't say it enough. I've really enjoyed this. We picked the wrong track probably to do it at, because this track is so demanding, just like majority of them. So I mean, it's probably be good. We've got to get all the kinks out of it, and when we start the new season with this stage racing, I think it'll be really exciting and be worth watching and worth racing.
Imagine short track racing with that. Hoo boy, just in time for Bristol, right? The next track I think stage racers will play in a big factor and could potentially be either Pocono or New Hampshire. Road America, solid maybe. Single digits, an estimated 4 to 5 minutes left on the clock. 8 laps to go.
Yeah, Nolan, I am turning the steering wheel completely to the left in these corners, and I just knocked a toe or something out of this thing, so I'm in messed up shape here.
A quarter of a second separate the top 3 with 6 to go. Coming to 6 to go, at least this time by. Catching lap traffic, Paul Olsen. The 43 car with a little bit of damage on the right side of the car will likely not put up much of a fuss here for the leaders. He's typically really good when it comes to letting drivers through. And yeah, sure enough, as I say that, moves to the inside and slows up to allow the top 3 to swing on by around the outside line. Closest battle on track, Wachinski versus Johnson, 6th and 7th. Between the 2 and the 48 do battling for the final spot outside. Or the first spot outside of the top 5, I should say. Johnson's trying to kind of find the outside line here, trying to maybe see if he can run down Wojcinski that way, but I think it's too late in the race for experimenting. I mean, we're coming to 4 to go here. What are you going to do about it when he gets to the last lap? I mean, there's nothing you really can do about it. You just have to wait and maybe see if he can try something, but it's a long shot.
He may be searching for some clean air. That could be a possibility. I mean, this is, I'm not feeling the effects of it way back here in 9th, about to be in 10th. But he may be trying to find some clean air. Got John Mullins. I'm going to let him by here. I'm not going to race him because this thing is going to push and will be a caution.
Three laps remaining here in the All-Star race for the iRacing Stock Car Association from Homestead Miami Speedway.
Oh, looks like Mullins wants to race side by side. I guess we'll go ahead and do this the last couple of races.
Well, that's what tends to happen when you end up getting that dirty air. It really sucks you in like that. 2 to go. Just 3 miles left in this long race tonight. And white flag, 1.5 miles left to go. A swap for the final put in position as Brian Johnson gets clear of Clayton Hoffman coming down into 1 and 2. Now running the outside line to try to fend him off. Travis Manning, though, started 5th on the day, and he has worked his way up there. Gave Brian Johnson a good hard-fought fights for both stages. Won stage number 2. And he is definitely going to be set with a very happy stage 3 win, as well as the race win here tonight. It will be Travis Manning to win the iRacing Stock Car Association All-Star Race from Homestead Miami Speedway. Brian Johnson 3rd. Clayton Hoffman 4th. Josh Schaffner set to finish it off in 4th place with Kenny Powell in 5th to round out the top 5. Ray Wojcinski in 6th with Chris Johnson in 7th. Jason Maines is in 8th with John Mullins in 9th. Al Kozlowski rounds out the top 10. Greg Johnson, the final car to finish on the lead lap, 26 seconds back. Paul Olsen, Robert Pattingill, Connor Mulligan all finishing 1 lap down, with Mick Robinson and Wayne Grossi not finishing the race, 72 and 124 laps down respectively. Seth Hollander not starting the race at all after he should have started in 10th. So as Travis Manning starts to celebrate on the front straightaway, let's take one more step away and we'll be right back to the ButtKicker post-race show.
ButtKicker. Feel what you've been missing. Get yours today at thebutkicker.com and be sure to use our 20% discount promo code ISCA20.
Welcome back to Miami. Let's see if we can get a hold of some of these race winners. So let's see if we can get a hold of the driver of the 92 car, Clayton Hoffman. Clayton Hoffman, Al Kozlowski in the booth and in the car. You got a copy?
Yes, I do, Al. What's up?
How was that? How was that stage racing? This is your first stage race with ISCA. What do you think it was like?
Pretty similar to real life. Throw a caution at certain stages. Stages were kind of short. There's only the last stage where you had to make a green flag pit stop, so there wasn't really much strategy involved. So it was pretty much just fight for track position, set yourself up for the last stage.
You like this better than just the open, wait for the caution racing?
I personally am not a huge fan of it with the way iRacing goes. A lot of these runs just are based on tire wear. If you have 2-lap older tires, you're kind of screwing yourself for a long run. So like I said, strategy is just to pit under the yellows from the stages, so I can't say I'm particularly a fan of it.
Well, it didn't hurt you too bad. You finished out in third, although you did start on the pole, but third is nothing to sneeze at. Congratulations on that third place finish. You got any sponsors you want to thank?
Thank ButtKicker for sponsoring the league. Thank you guys at G&G, and Nolan for broadcasting, Rob behind the scenes. It's a lot of fun to race on iRacing. It's a great race. That's all I got.
Well, congratulations. It was a great drive out there for you guys. It was good to watch from my seat, especially. Let's get a hold of second place, and I believe he was our stage winner, the driver of the number 4, Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson, Al Kozlowski, you got a copy?
I got a copy, Al.
How was that, brother? You guys out there, I mean, this pack racing, in my opinion, was really good. It kept everybody kind of together, and it made everybody having a race. Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, the first part of that was extremely fun. You know, Travis, Clayton, and John Mullins was up there too. So, I mean, we were just going back and forth. I was running the top. They were running low, and we were kind of trading back and forth. Yeah, it was a blast to run, man. Had a good time.
Yeah, I would say this is probably the funnest we've had at Homestead in a long time, and that stage racing, I believe, played a good hand in it there. You got a second place. Did you have anything left in the tank for Travis to get that win?
Well, that's the thing. I was trying to save there. I was just hanging out behind Clayton and Travis trying to save tire, and apparently I didn't save enough. So I felt like I was saving a bunch, but being in that dirty air for 35 laps, you know, it still kills the tires. So congrats to Travis on the win. You know, it was a hard-fought win. Had a blast.
Yeah, it was definitely well-earned second place there. I didn't have anything for you guys as the same as everybody else in the field here. You guys were a dominating field here, and this was a fixed setup. So congratulations on that second place. Great driving, Brian.
Thanks, Al.
Let's see if we can get a hold of that race winner, that 22 car, Travis Manning. Travis Manning, Al Kozlowski in the booth. You got a copy?
Al, I got you loud and clear, bud. How you doing?
How we doing, Travis? Welcome back to ISCA. You came back on a stage race event. How'd you think the stage racing went for you?
If anything at all, it did save me. That first stage, we were racing really hard. I ended up burning my stuff off, and then the second stage pretty much did the same thing. So my mentality, third stage, was just, you know, get clean air, save. And, you know, thankfully it paid off. I don't think I saved enough the first half of the last stage. So we got those green flag stops and was able to keep up with Brian and Clayton there, and got the clean air and just saved. And, you know, clean air is worth a lot for your tires. So it worked out in my favor tonight.
You definitely managed to come home with the W. That's a great run tonight. This is our first time running this stage racing. We're going to do a lot of this next season. We're going to see you back next season.
Yeah, absolutely. RTP didn't quite go my way. Still had a couple dogs on the fight, but now the season's coming to a close. It seems like the Thursdays are going to be free again, so should be back.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see you again next season, and congratulations on that win tonight, Travis. You got any sponsors you want to thank, bud?
Thank you. Yeah. First and foremost, I know it was a fixed setup race, but if it was open, all the guys over at Frontline would have hooked me up with a pretty sweet ride. Bruzy. I got bruising cues. My dad, actually, it's his thing. He's watching. Nice shout out to bruising cues. My dad, Steph, they're all watching. Yeah, I mean, that's it, man. Just awesome. Pretty excited.
Yeah, that was a great run tonight, and we pulled it off at Homestead. It started out in the day, ended up in the night, and you ended up victorious. So congratulations, Travis Manning, on that win tonight, bud. Can't wait to see you on the track again.
Thank you. Thank you guys for everything you do.
Well, that takes care of Homestead, Miami, and we just had a pointless race that was a stage race, and it seemed to be pretty exciting. I, for one, absolutely enjoyed it, and it sounds like a lot of the drivers have the same feeling. So until next time, Al Kozlowski, Nolan Rempel in the booth. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good night.